Hey, I'm your host, Balin Rackley, and on this podcast, we'll be talking about sanitation and masks. My co-host for today is my lifelong best friend, River Terry. Okay, so River, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, I'm River Terry. I've been best friends with Balin forever since like second grade. I currently go to Alta High School right now.
Now, since the end of quarantine and the start of school, the schooling scene has had a huge change. Students now have to wear masks daily, wipe down their desks before class, and also the seating arrangements have been spaced out in accordance to the COVID-19 guidelines. However, the change that I think have impacted the students the most would have to be masks. Masks are supposed to be worn over the nose at all times unless you are eating or drinking. Now, there's been a couple problems that have arisen through wearing masks. Some of them happen to be the kids who can't wear the masks over their nose, or the itchiness and the irritating they sometimes bring to your face, or even the mild or slight headaches they give certain people. Now, as I'm sure you guys are all aware of, there's a variety of different masks out there. They can range from the cloth mask to the more traditional medical masks you see a lot of people wearing out there, to even a sports buff. So, River, I know you personally like wearing the buffs more than you like wearing the mask. Could you just kind of give us your opinion on that?
Yeah, so I think the buffs are a really nice, lightweight, easy mask basically to wear. They're easy to breathe through. They're comfortable. You always have it on you. There's a lot of benefits to them.
I personally have tried out wearing a buff. They aren't my favorite. They are comfier, they're easier to breathe out of, but I do think that they give up some of that filtration that I think is definitely a key important part of wearing a mask. Transitioning a little bit, I'd like to talk about some of the precautionary measures that Brighton has been taking. Like I mentioned previously in the podcast, I talked about how students have had to wipe down their desks. This is kind of an iffy one at Brighton. I've had, I think 3 classes make me wipe down my desk before in each class. I mean, it's not very consistent. Some other precautionary measures that Brighton has taken would be, at the very beginning of the year, they handed out 2 masks to each student. I thought this was a great idea. One of the other things that we've seen a lot is the socially distanced seating chart. Now, teachers have tried their best to kind of space out students to minimize the contact with each other. Now, this was very prominent at the start of the school year, but towards the end, we've kind of seen this kind of waning off and not as prominent in classrooms. Okay, now that we've gone over some of the precautionary measures Brighton takes, I think it'd be good to hear an outside point of view from a different school like Alta. What kind of precautionary measures have you guys taken?
We take a lot of the same precautionary measures like hand sanitizing and wiping down the desks before and after class. We also have really tight seating arrangements for contact tracing, and we also, during gym and physical activity classes, you have to take your temperature before the class.
That's interesting to hear that, because I personally don't have a physical education class this year, but I'm pretty sure Brighton hasn't been taking temperatures, and it kind of makes me curious to see why Alta is taking that precautionary measure and why Brighton isn't. However, one of the main areas I think Brighton struggles with is socially distancing. I would solely blame this on the construction and the hallways that have been closed off and the little bit of space we have left to transition in between classes. Hallways are just a mess. I mean, they have it back down to only 3 exits, and the main way to get through class to class is senior ramp, and so it ends up being about like 100 students at a time just bumping through senior ramp to get to class. I think it's pretty crappy design, but for the meantime, we're going to have to deal with it. I know Alta's under construction, so what do your guys' hallways look like?
It was a lot of the same at first. There was a lot of construction, but in the last 2 weeks, we've had some hallways open up, so it's been able to open up the school, less contact between student and student, more room to be able to maneuver around. It's been really nice.
After addressing all these problems, some of the solutions I've come up with that Brighton, or any other school for that matter, could use is a little bit more policing on keeping the mask above the nose. I think that's a crucial one that a lot of students struggle with. And not only that, but I think also complimenting and reassuring kids who keep their mask above their nose is a good one. And another main one I would say could be to include hand sanitizer right next to the door in every class. I think that's essential for the sanitation aspect of the schools. And all right, River, thanks for giving your point of view on the subject. And any last thoughts or comments?
No, thank you for having me, and mask up.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you next time.